Hi there, my name is Thomas Weeks here at the Cyber Range, and I'm going to be talking about introducing folks to the Cloud CTF platform and how we use capture the flags at the Cyber Range. So real quick, if you're playing along today, then whoever is organizing your event, they should give you a URL. You'll need to go ahead and go hit that URL and click start or enter to get logged in. That's step number one. Number two, you'll be presented with an authentication window here where you're expected to either log in with a Google or Microsoft account if you're like a college student. If you're a high schooler, we tend to use temporary throwaway username passwords. So you can just click on that here, sign in with a username password. If you're doing that, step three, it'll ask you to log in, but you'll need to set up an account. So you click up sign up first. Then you'll enter a username password, and I'll do that here in a second. You can see how that works. Once you get logged in, you just go ahead and click play solo. There's also team play and stuff like that. So if your event is doing teams, be sure to know what team you're on. However, today for demonstration, we're just going to be playing solo. Actually, playing the game is really easy. These are Jeopardy style CTFs. We'll talk about that in a second, but you pick a category and pick a difficulty level within the category. And as you see here, we've got 7 different categories in the CTF we're going to be demonstrating today. So what is a capture the flag? So real quick, it's a cybersecurity competition. It can be individual or team-based. Sometimes it's in person, sometimes remote, sometimes it's in an auditorium with a bunch of kids. We have various CTF formats in cybersecurity. The most popular, of course, is the Jeopardy style, which is what we're going to be using here today. It's really easy to roll one out to create your own challenges or use our library of challenges. The other is more your attack, defend, red versus blue type challenges. That's where you're rolling out virtual machine infrastructure and using that for the players to attack each other or defend each other. That's red versus blue. So CTFs are typically run by teachers and professors, but they're very popular with college and high school cybersecurity clubs alike, and they're popular for companies that are looking for hiring technical talent. It's a great way of throwing all your applicants, for example, into a game, having it gamified and say who comes out on top. I wouldn't use it, purely for that, but you got people's people skills and soft skills and writing skills you need to evaluate too. But it's a great way of kind of putting everyone in the mix and seeing who comes out on top. DoD and government agencies are also starting to use it more and more. We have the U.S. Cyber Games, which is a great way for certain 3-letter organizations to recruit talent from the cybersecurity community. So why do we use CTFs? Well, it's a really good way of sparking interest in cybersecurity-related topics, first of all. It gamifies the learning process. It's super popular with young kids from high school up through college clubs. And teachers can use it to reinforce classroom concepts in a way that is much more engaging and fun. For example, over here on the right, this is a picture of it's a random classroom on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Where else can you get 60 college students to come out on a weekend at 8 o'clock in the morning after they've been out all night to show up and play a CTF like this for 8 hours or 12 hours or 48 hours straight? And that's what these college students do. They really get into it. Not only that, but they put this stuff on their resumes, and it's a great way of kind of showing your street cred. Like, I came in first at the following CTFs. So it's a great way for engaging college students. But a well-designed CTF kind of has a wide array of different topics that you can plug in by category. It really works on motivating independent learning, and you really cut your teeth. You can learn a lot of brand new skills very rapidly in a CTF because you've got this pressure and gamification going on. And we really write challenges to drive home important key IT security concepts. It's a great tool for that. It can also be used for team building. Some teachers like to use them as a fun way of doing quizzes. I mean, who likes pop quizzes? No one. But you gamify it, suddenly it becomes a lot more fun. If you're more serious about it, you don't want to have a scoreboard up. You can use it for exams, for example. If you take away the scoreboard and have all the all the grades a little more private, but people can still they're up against the clock, and it's a fun way as opposed to, handing out PDFs or using some online, quiz tool. Teaching basic skills and problem solving. So that's something you don't get a lot of in the classroom. So kind of classic problem solving and kind of deep cognitive thought. You don't get a lot of that by just giving people reading assignments. So it really kind of brings the students where the rubber hits the road with learning IT and security. So here's an example of a couple of CTFs you have at the high school here in Virginia. They're very popular. We use them at the high school and the collegiate level. That's the high school Cyber Cup challenge on the left. It's a CTF event. It's a 4-hour CTF. And there's the collegiate level Cyber Cup event run every year at VMI on the right. Again, each of these have between 120 and 150 kids organized in teams from all across the state. So it's a ton of fun. And so we're setting the expectations young in the high school level. So by the time they get to college, they're starting to get really serious and really up their game. So it's a ton of fun. So common CTF challenge theme categories, at least for IT security and cybersecurity, are cryptography, forensics, networking, reconnaissance, trivia, and cyber concepts, and web challenges. And sometimes I'll have some in real life challenge where I'll have a table with some physical hands-on manipulatives, either lock picking or RFID scanning or even like port scanning and lighting up lights on a board with port scans. A lot of fun. So cryptography tends to be kind of a very popular intro-level category related to computer encoding, ciphers, and modern cryptographic algorithms. That's being displayed here. You'll see some stuff that starts off really easy, 5 points, and then gets up to 70, 100, 200 points if you let it. So forensics is more of your analyzing digital artifacts such as drive images, memory, files inside files, steganography, things like that. A lot of fun. Feels very spycrafty, so forensics is a ton of fun. Networking, this is more where they're actually doing something with network traffic. So either analyzing a PCAP file, captured network traffic, tracking down DNS, watching where someone went to do their banking or whatever. So this really lights people up when they realize, wow, I'm sitting down in a coffee shop and people can see my network traffic. This really kind of drives it home as to how important network security is and how important it is to secure yourself in the public, not jump on public Wi-Fi, be sure to use VPNs, stuff like that. So really, really great topic. Very deep packet level inspection type stuff. Then there's reconnaissance, following the trail of hints to find a flag. That could be even network reconnaissance, so doing port scans and ping sweeps and finding out what's out there. This is what hackers do when they break into your system. They'll break in and then they'll scan to see where they can pivot to get inside your organization. We need to teach kids about this kind of stuff because you can't stop hackers if you don't know how they operate. And then we've got more your entry-level trivia type cyber concepts. We recently started adding these to our CTFs because we had a lot of younger folks that were intimidated, I shouldn't say younger, but less experienced folks who were intimidated to play along. And we want to get kids hooked. And this is a great way of doing this with easy multiple choice trivia concepts, something they can look at, think about, Google, and then pop the answer in very easily. So this kind of gets kids hooked, the ones that feel like they shouldn't be there or suffering from imposter syndrome. So this is really great for that. And then we have more advanced type web challenges. Well, some are simple to kind of get their feet wet, get them to look at, looking at URLs and how they're encoded, looking at a static web page, looking at the source code inside the web page, learning a little HTML, learning how things work on the back end with MySQL databases and security of SQL injections, directory traversal, all kinds of things, cross-site scripting. A lot of really, really cool stuff in here. We have some more advanced stuff like Log4j, exploits and vulnerabilities, Apache vulnerabilities, CVEs. Some really, really cool stuff going on in that space too. So very, very popular. In fact, a couple of years ago, I dropped the web category because I didn't have enough challenges for it. And I got a lot of complaints say, hey, where's your web challenges? I'm a web guy. I want my web challenges. And so It's very important that we come and represent all the different categories that students are used to seeing, or give them a heads up if we're not going to. So general tips to solving challenges. Always consider the point value and the category. So this gives you the relative, first of all, it gives you the context of what you're talking about. So strings and what concept? Oh, reverse engineering. Okay. And then the points are going to give you the relative difficulty level of this challenge versus all the other challenges in that same category. And they're ordered lowest to highest, so you can just visually, jump on the lower point ones if you're less confident, or if you see, hey, that's a higher point challenge, I'm gonna let my new guys do the easy stuff. I'm gonna jump on the hard stuff. That's the first thing you want to look at. The challenge name here, it's called strings, is almost always a hint. A lot of folks that aren't sure how to start, they'll just Google the category and the challenge name and see what pops up. And we design it that way so that if you don't know where to start, we leave you some breadcrumbs. If there's really not anything to go on, well, sometimes we'll throw you a hint down here. You can purchase a hint for a few, you give away some of your points, but you get a leg up and you can accomplish these challenges much faster if you're not afraid to buy hints. So reading the challenge description very carefully. I tell people very carefully because I'll have people come up and say, what do I need to do on this challenge? I'm like, read it. And they said, I did. I said, read it slowly, because a lot of times they'll miss some nuances or things that may be a riddle, or things that are connecting the title to the description and what they're supposed to be doing. So it's very important to have our students continue to read and not be afraid to read. Is there a file attachment? Sometimes there's going to be artifacts, either in the form of a file attachment or a website. Sometimes there's even an embedded virtual machine. So they click on this and it'll take them to a machine they're actually logging into, like you see down here. And that's nice for folks who don't have Linux systems, if they're running Mac or Windows. This is a Linux challenge, for example. We could make this an embedded virtual machine, so they click on it and they're dumped into a Linux command line. That also gets people out of their comfort zone a little bit. So to make sure that, hey, if you're gonna have a profession in this space, you kind of need to learn the Linux command line, for example. So some things about file attachments, for example, sometimes the file extension may be wrong or misleading. It may have a .txt or a .png and not be that thing. Experts in IT need to be able to look beyond the name of files and the extensions of files to look inside them to find out what's going on. So open the file and see if you can interpret its contents. You can use programs like strings to extract all the strings, ASCII strings, out of a binary, and just look at that. Least common denominator. If you're on Windows, you can literally open binaries in Notepad, and you can see a lot. You really can. Don't be afraid to do that. Along with following the breadcrumbs, are there any people's names mentioned in the challenge? So sometimes if we're trying to give you some free hints or breadcrumbs, we'll give you a person's last name or part of a famous quote, okay? Or if there's some way of having a riddle or a play on words, you need to be very, very sensitive to those little nuances. And some challenges are specifically for specific operating systems. So we may do an NTFS challenge, which can only be solved on Windows. And so sometimes if you're playing solo, you don't want to do those kind of things because a person may be running Mac OS or OS X or Linux. Well, I guess they could solve it with Linux, but you can't solve NTFS challenges on Mac OS, for example. So it's good to have teams that have a couple folks running Windows, a couple folks running Linux, and maybe a couple Mac folks too. So you kind of spread that expertise out a little bit as to what you can do. You can run, for example, you can run Linux on Windows, like Windows Subsystem for Linux, things like that. But it's expected at these events that you have all the operating systems basically covered. All right. Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get out of this, and we're going to jump over here to an actual demo. So this is our current 2026 demo, Capture the Flag. If you're playing at an event, you may not be using this URL. Your handlers will probably TAs have probably given you a different CTF URL to use, so just use that. But the gameplay is the same. We're going to click Enter, and this is where we get challenged with our authentication portion for getting into the CTF. Most collegiate level students are either logging in with Google or Windows Microsoft Azure. For high school students, I recommend against that, because schools don't always allow students to log in with their school credentials, for example. They may lock down their domain. So I just suggest students, and if you're not comfortable with giving, you're not giving us your login, you're logging into Google and giving us a token that Google's handed you. So that's all that's going on there. We don't want people's logins and passwords. But if you do want to skip that, or you don't have a Google account, you can always sign in with just a temporary username and password. It's called our direct login option. Now, if you already logged in here before, you just log in here. But if you never logged in, then you just click on need an account, sign up. And again, you're not buying anything. You're just creating a temporary username and password. So I'm going to do a z at my email is z@z.net. That was not real. It's just what I'm putting there for my fake username and password. And for a password, it does have to be secure, but it can be anything as long as it's secure, I guess. And it meets all these criteria. Click sign up, and it should dump us directly into the CTF. We're going to do probably just one challenge from each of the categories. Okay, this is a user agreement. You have to click on this before you can start. Basically saying, don't hack our systems and be nice. Don't try to hurt other players. That type of thing. You're agreeing to that. And this is where you either join solo, team, or create a team. Recommend for most events, unless they tell you otherwise, play solo. Typically, schools will have pre-configured teams they have to join. The only time you do create a team is if it's a free-for-all and you're allowing team and solo play, for example. If you're wondering, I'm running MX Linux. That's my distro of choice up here with all these different things. Alrighty, so here we are in cryptography. You see we have stuff ranging from 5 up through 70 points. And you can tell by some of the titles like BXORing encryption, boring encryption. You see this is an uppercase. That tends to be a hint that this has something to do with XOR. So if you know what XOR is, then you might want to jump on this challenge up here. This one over here, writing the rails. If you've done crypto before, you might know about the Rails cipher, so you might want to jump on that. In this case, I'm going to play the newbie. I'm going to start at 5 points. Easy as ABC. That sounds like me. Okay. So easy as ABC. What are the 3 decimal ASCII values? Well, what the heck does that mean? It gives us a link, so we're going to go out to this link, check it out. Go out here, and okay, it's ASCII table. ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Basically, in a nutshell, every key on your keyboard has a value associated with it. So you hit the letter A, and your computer reads that as decimal 65. Technically, it reads it in binary, which is encoded here as hexadecimal. So it's hex 41 equals decimal 65. Okay, so armed with that knowledge, let's go over here and look at this. Zoom this up again. So what are they looking for? They're looking for the 3 decimal ASCII values. Decimal ASCII. So 3 of them. Well, I've got 3 letters here, ABC, so maybe they're looking for the decimal values for those. So I'm going to go back over here to here on what's A. Decimal. I don't want hex or octal. So A is 65, B is 66, C is 67. So let's try that. 65, 66, 67. And that's about as easy as it gets. Yeah, there we go. Got points. Now that I have points, I can actually buy hints too, so keep that in mind too. But I'm not going to spend much time on all of these. I'm just going to do one from each category for you all. All right. For the forensics, I think I'm going to do the loco. That's the easy one. Now forensics, again, we're getting into, this could be drive forensics, memory forensics, steganography, which is files and other files, hidden data, we call hidden in plain sight type things. So some spycraft does this. So how can you, or can you find the nearest city or town from where this photo was taken? Enter the flag in this format. So this is our flag format for some of our challenges where we have data hidden somewhere. We'll hide it in this format so that you know when you see it, you know that's what it is. The actual flag data itself is inside the curly brackets. The flag in the curly brackets is just to announce to you, hey, you found it. This is it. So it looks like they want the city in lowercase. Okay, so I need to find the city where this picture was taken. There's a hint down here I could buy. I'm going to download this binary. Alright, where am I? I'm going to open this up, and okay, it looks like some kind of plaza somewhere. Now, you very rarely see challenges where they're hiding little pixels. They're hiding things in pixels, but they will do that. That's called using the LSB or MSB or alpha channels to steal pixels from the image, but I don't see anything weird. There's no discoloration. Now there may be LSB pixels that are stolen. We wouldn't even see them because they're least significant digit. But I'm just going to look at the image and see here. I see this American Eagle, something plaza. And there's an In-N-Out Burger. Okay, so if I pump this through Google Images, I might be able to find some stuff. But I would just go to whatever your native graphic viewer is and just see what you can see within the viewer. So I've got the ability to show image location. Oh, really? So along with photos, when you take a photo, metadata about where you are, what time it is, sometimes your GPS coordinates are actually encoded in the image, and so it looks like I might have that. So I'm going to go ahead and say show image location. Wow, look at that. Pulled up Google Images. It gives me GPS coordinates. It looks like it thinks it's in Decatur, Illinois. Let's check out. Since we're doing this as turning into more of an OS intelligence challenge now. I'm going to take the street view, go over here, and look. Nothing familiar. Hey, oh, hey! Here's the Eagle sign. There's the In-N-Out Burger. Okay, this is it. So the town is Decatur. It's Decatur, Illinois. So I'm going to copy that. There we go. Close that. Close this. Go back over here and say Decatur, Illinois. Illinois. Well, no, I'm curious what the hint would have been. I'm going to go ahead and purchase the hint. It's only 2 points. I've got 5. So the point is, do you want to unlock this for 2 points? Yes. And the deal with points is, even if you don't solve the challenge, I tell people it's like buying a candy bar. You can't take a candy bar back. Once you bought it, it's yours. So if this hint doesn't do me any good, then I've still bought the candy bar. Oh, did I hit cancel? What's going on here? Did I buy the hint or not? Hold on. Get out of that. Go back in. Hints. Okay. I missed the hint. The image itself is not as important as the raw data, the EXIF data within it. Okay, so yeah. So that GPS coordinates probably gave me what I needed. I'm going to paste Decatur, Illinois. There's 15 points. Yeah, good. I got 15 points. All right. Now I'm going to show you another way of solving this. If you're on a Linux system, if you're not this comfortable on Linux command line, you should get that way because these are very, very powerful. So here it is. Where am I? So this is what the actual data, raw data looks like. All right, and not that useful, but I'm going to pump this through less so I can page through it. I see it starts off with PNG, which is a standard header. This is a standard header for a PNG file. That looks kosher. And sometimes I'll just go down to the very bottom and look. I don't see anything. That's an end. So that's the header for the ending part of the header. So structure within the PNG file. So that looks good, but this is where you can really get starting to pull some cool information out. EXIF tools or EXIF tool, and you'll see these online tools for doing EXIF data. EXIF is the metadata that's recorded along with the photograph. So I'm doing an EXIF tool, and put the font. Oops, that's the wrong thing. Here we go. EXIF tool. Where am I? and this will show me the metadata inside it. So right off the bat, file name, date stamp of the file itself. Typically it'll have the type of phone. This is looks like a Motorola format. Big Endian by Motorola. GPS. Oh, it's got GPS coordinates. Look at this. This is where my viewer extracted the GPS coordinates from. So this is handy stuff. It can also have hints and other text and encoded data inside these EXIF metadata. You can use it to hide all kinds of stuff. So we got that one. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Let me close down this image. Go to the networking. Now again, these networking, there's you must be this tall to ride this one, because most of these networking challenges, if they're not port maps or port scans or DNS, intricate DNS challenges, then most of them are PCAP files, which are network traffic data that's been captured and saved to a PCAP file. So I'm going to do one here. This one's called Unsafe Protocols for 20 points. No hint. It says Unsafe Protocols Telnet. Unsafe means it's probably not encrypted. Learn some things about the wonders of insecure protocols. Find the flag inside the curly braces. All right, so I'm going to download the Telnet Fun PCAP. Download that. I go up here and just click on it. I should already have Wireshark installed. If you're going to do PCAP challenges, you need Wireshark. This is the tool that allows you to do packet level inspection inside each and every packet. So when you send an email, you're sending thousands of packets that all get glued together on the other end. When you're browsing google.com, thousands of packets are going across the internet and coming back to you. So there's the source IP, destination IP, protocol. This is a very important technology to learn. Even if you're not even doing cybersecurity, if you're doing network administration, you know about this stuff. So it looks like we got a chunk of traffic. The red stuff is resets. Looks like there may be some kind of attack. But this looks like contiguous data here. I see from the timestamps it's all over a few seconds, a few minutes. So I'm going to right click on this and say I want to follow this as a TCP stream. Wow, that was it. Okay, I forgot about this one. This is a conversation, looks like this. So red is client and blue is server. So hello, do you know what Telnet is? It is an old protocol where the flag is. Should I tell? I don't know. Let me think about it. Think a bit. Maybe I should let you stew. My bad. Sorry about the misspelling. Here's the flag. Sorry for making you wait. All right. So this right here is a form of encoded data. Something you might often see like in a crypto challenge. So, oh wait, that's not a standard encoding. Hope you can figure that out. Okay, so if I'm not sure here, so maybe I know Wireshark, but I don't know this type of encoding, I could say, what kind of encoding ends in equal signs? There we go. Base 64 encoding can end in one or two equal signs. Has padding when the input is multiple 3 bytes. Okay, so this is basically base 64 is a way of encoding any data, whether it's binary or ASCII or whatever, into 7 bits of data, basically. So if it doesn't fit perfectly, then they have to pad it with equal signs. Anyway, all that to say is if I want to find some online tool for doing base 64 decoding, I could do that. There we go, base 64 encode decode. So there's a couple websites that are really good too. I recommend you guys bookmarking. One of them is called decode.fr. We'd probably find it if we kept searching. Base 64. There's a lot of base 64 stuff out there. Wow. Okay. I don't know. I want to use the first one, base 64 decode. So I want to take that what I found there and decode. Wrong one. That's my old one. Get my base 64. There it is. So I decode. Oh, there we go. Flag. telnet, wellnet, delnet, wellnet, delnet, chelnet, failnet. Okay, so that's my flag. I'm going to copy that flag and go over here and paste it in. Boom, 20 more points. Okay, I'm doing good. Now, some other ways of solving that. I'm a command line guy, so I'm going to shut down Wireshark. Go back to the drop down, back to command line because I love it. So if I echo this string, not that, that's my answer. And let's see, I answer, I will dump this base64 into the command line. And then I can pipe this through various tools to do encoding and decoding. So the most common is, for this one, is base64-D for decode. -D. There we go. So I got the answer. So that's just to show you that a lot of these online tools are actually already built into Linux. If you just learn Linux command line, you'll never even have to touch the mouse. You just do what you need here on the command line. So it's much faster and more reliable too. Websites come and go. So if you're hooked on using some website and then it's down or it's no longer there, then you're kind of up the creek. Let's go ahead and move on to reconnaissance. So reconnaissance, which one was I going to do here? I think I'm going to do ownership. This is really, really low level. So recon is typically when you're doing reconnaissance either on network or you're collecting information. I don't know why this one is in reconnaissance. This is more of a kind of a trivia thing, but some of these get really deep. So this Martian Secret ones it's like a 5-level challenge. So it's pretty advanced. So we'll just do this basic one. This is a good way of showing how if you don't know something, you can just Google it too, or ask AI. Ownership on a Linux system. Which user owns etc password? I don't know. I literally copy and paste this one. Oh, there he goes. etc password is owned by the root user. Okay. That seems too easy. Okay, got my 5 points. So you can see how it's, you don't have to be really advanced to be able to do these challenges. Once kids realize, hey, I can do this, and they jump in with both feet. This is the reverse engineering strings challenge I mentioned earlier. This one, run me from Linux command line. So if you have a Linux system, then you could download this attachment. A couple things here. You could examine the file inside. Use I've got an alias for Notepad here. It's not really Notepad, but I'm just simulating if I was on Windows. I'd do Notepad strings, open it up, and I see this. I said, okay, this is an ELF binary, and all these file types are all recorded out called magic strings. File signatures or magic strings, I think it's called. Yeah, this is Wikipedia page. You go out here and you say, hey, what is a file that starts with ELF? ELF. There it is. Self. ELF. Executable and linkable format, ELF. And it starts with these hex characters. And that's what we see. Now, we don't see it here because this is like Notepad text editor, so we're not going to see it. A more useful place to see it, once you know what you're doing, is something like hex edit. I'll pull it up in hex editor, and I see this. And this is where I see ELF. This is the human readable ASCII text over here, and this is the hexadecimal, the machine language. So 7F45 4C46. 7F45 4C46. This is indeed an ELF binary. I could have saved myself some time though, and just done a file on it. So run file, and on the download I just downloaded called strings, file examines that header for you and tells you exactly what it is. This is an ELF32-bit executable. It's like, oh, thank you very much. Now to be able to run a binary like this on a system requires that it be executable. So I need to add, this is where you need to know about the Linux command line and modes. Read, write, executable. So I need to make this thing executable. So I'm going to say change mode, add the execute bit, or I would do like 755, but for ease of use, just plus X of strings. This will make it executable. If I don't do that, like right now, for example, if I try to run it, well, if I run the strings command, that's the actual strings command. This is a new strings command, the one I just downloaded. To reference it, I have to do a // strings. It should say it's not executable. Permission denied. So I need to make it executable first, and then I can run it. Well, that wasn't very useful. It didn't tell me much. It ran and just printed to the screen. So it's called strings. So I'm going to use strings on it. I'm going to actually use my strings program, which just rips out, filters out all the binary and just shows you the printable text. And I'm going to run it against the strings download I just downloaded. Let's check it out. Okay, that's the very end. So this is the beginning up here in the top. So if I wanted to go through it more slowly, I'll pump it through less, pipe it through less. And that's where we start seeing, oh, look at this, look at this. That's it. That's my flag. Oops. Control Shift Copy. All right, I think I got my flag. So we're on a time crunch here, so I want to get as many points as I can. Yay, got my 4 points. Okay, so we've done reverse engineering. Now I want to jump over to trivia. These are super simple. These are like, if you've never done anything cyber before, just check this out. You'll probably know this without looking up anything. Evil software, 3 points. Hackers sometimes try to get you to install software on your computer that seeks to damage or exploit your computer or data. What's the common term for this type of malicious software? Evilware, malware, devilware, hackware. Okay, if you got a grandma, you know grandmas get owned by malware, so it's got to be malware. All right, super easy. See this stuff? If you're not sure, this is CIA. You can Google it. What does the A stand for in the CIA triad? I don't even know what that is. Instead of just using AI, though, to give you the answer, actually take a second to ingest what it tells you. Because if you're not taking this opportunity to learn, then you're not getting smarter. You're just offloading to AI. The A in CIA triad stands for availability, which ensures timely and reliable access to and use of information. And this comes from the National Institute of Standards, NIST. Cool. I want to learn more about that. Timely access, reliable use. The other letter stands for confidentiality and integrity. This is interesting. So this is a kind of a cornerstone of cybersecurity you should know about. If someone asks you something about the CIA and you don't know, they're going to be like, what are you, a poser? So you know this stuff. So A is for availability. Good to go. I was only going to solve one, but oh well. And let's jump over here to, so you see these are really easy, even the tough one, even the 10-point ones. Which modern consumer device connects your home network to the internet? So broadband cable router, modem, network switch, or VoIP terminal adapter. So which modem consumer device? Well, this is a modem, but that's the old telephone style. So this is for modern consumer device. Broadband cable router is also a modem technically because it's converting digital signals into analog. They can be, well, encoded analog. It's a digital transmission, but everything is analog. So I'm going to do that. See if that works. Yay, okay. So even the hard ones are easy. You may even have to Google that, but not that tough. All right, let's do the last category here. Web challenges. So we got some cool stuff here. Got some stuff where you can actually go online and do encryption and decryption stuff. It's really cool. Looking at source code is important. But I'm going to start off with just the easy stuff because I'm not going to give away all my answers. Yeah, these are some really good challenges here. 120 points. That's tough stuff. So let's just do Nemesis. So what's the secret message hidden near the close body tag on Secret Squirrel's website? Okay, if you don't know what a body tag is, it's not like a dead body tag. This is an HTML thing. So if you don't know HTML, this is a great opportunity to learn yourself some HTML. So I'm going to go at the secretsquirrel.com website. Okay, continue anyway. It's not running SSL, so it's a TLS, so it's not secure. It's running HTTP, but anyway, I don't care. I'm playing a game here. So what's the secret message hidden near the close body tag? Okay, close body, if you know anything about HTML, I hit Control U, or just right click and say, can you right click and do that? Maybe not. I never do it, I don't know. I'm just going to do a Control U. So normally it's Control U, and that brings up the source code. I still have the web page is still up, but I'm looking at its guts. So this is the opening HTML tag. This is what's called some CSS. This is some of the header stuff. Looks like it was modified on this date stamp. And here's the head, and here's the body. So actually, this is the head up here, because the body is under the head. Get it? So this is the body, the beginning of the actual website content. And down here at the bottom should be the end of the body. So that's the closing body tag right there. I think it said, didn't it say? Near the close body tag. So there's a secret message. Oh, and there it is. This is a comment. If anything that starts with a less than exclamation dash dash is a HTML comment. And there it is. I guess this tag squiddly diddly. If you know the cartoon, you know who that is. So Control C. Oops. Go back here and paste that in. Squiddly diddly. All right, there we go. So that's an example, a set of examples from solving one of the challenges in each one of these categories. And that's all there is to doing CTFs. And if you're doing a scoreboard, you can click on the scoreboard link and see it in real time. You know, imagine 120 kids all playing simultaneously, and you see these huge, beautiful graphs kind of expanding out over several hours. And then at the end of the CTF, there you go. You've got your first, second, third place winners. In this case, we only have 2 players, and one of them's got 0. So I'm the winner. Yay! All right, that's about it. I just wanted to kind of get everyone up to speed on what our latest CTF engine looks like here, and as well what our new default challenge set. So this is our new 2026 challenge set. You should check out, especially if you're teachers. And the nice thing is, let's see if I can bring up the teacher view of this. There we go. I'm all logged in now. And now I'm in here as a teacher. John gives me the admin tab up here. I can go in here and look to see who's solved what challenges, look at failed attempts, see who's failed the most on what challenges, successful attempts. But more importantly, I want to show you guys, teachers, you can go in here and look at, let me sort by category, and you can look at the teacher's notes. So here's notes on each challenge. So this one, Linux command line using strings to inspect data. This one, notes, knowledge of HTTP and OSINT is required. And then there's also solutions. So you can look on here and see this challenge teaches the use of Wireshark analyzing PCAP files. So really, really handy. You can go through here and look at everything and see the answers. You can help students get through these challenges. So you also use this in the classroom for teaching, because you have all the notes and the solutions, and so you can quickly go in here and say, oh, this one has to do with decoding spectrogram based on Morse code. So really, really useful stuff. All right, that's about it. I hope this was useful to you all, and that you'll get a lot of mileage out of our Cloud CTF platform. Take care.